There's going to be a couple of things that I think should be changed in Chaos Zero Nightmare for us to all have a better experience. Guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Josh. Let's get in here today. Now, Chaos Zero Nightmare has been a phenomenal game for me so far. I did, in my experience, have a lot more fun before Season 1 came out. I don't know why. Season 1, as far as the content that I'm running in Chaos, seems to be less fun. It seems to be less fun. And a lot of the things, and we've seen this, and they had to change them as well, comes down to the epiphany system. The epiphanies just seem to not really show up as much in the first season of Chaos. They had to go in there and basically like strong arm add some more ways for us to gain access to epiphanies,
which is a major thing that we need to get into. But before that, the easiest thing for you to do is support the channel by checking out the link in the description below. You're gonna get a free legendary champion as well as up to $200 worth of free goodies. And don't forget, up to 3 awesome epics as you level up inside of Raid. And be sure to use the code Desert Queen to get access to your new free legendary champion in the form of Tahana Rock. As always, this helps the channel out so much, guys, so be sure to check that description down in the link below and join me in Raid today.
And it still seems worse to me. And so this was something that a lot of players were talking about, and this is something that I was thinking about even when I first started playing the game, which was epiphanies seem to be very important, and I understand that it's a roguelike, but the game's not entirely just the Chaos roguelike motion. The game's not entirely Chaos, right? There is a reason to try to get good save data. There is another part of the game. And on top of that, part of the game, having fun, is making cool builds, maybe getting something broken every once in a while, but trying to put together something decent for your characters, which is all around the epiphany system, whether you're doing Chaos Manifestation or Zero Nightmare, the Zero system, or if you're doing the event. We all want to make good save data, right? And a lot of the times, some builds require you to have like 1 or 2 super specific save data, right? If you're trying to do like the crazy Tressa thing, you're trying to get some shadow reloads with some initiation versions, so you get shadow daggers every time you heal, or you're trying to duplicate Source of Water for Mika, or if you're trying to put like a Cassius team together, you literally just have to have Pop-Eyed Popper, choose one for consistency because you want that quest for your strategy. And so one of the first things that really holds me back when it comes to CZN in having fun is when you're rolling through a Chaos Manifestation or whatever, and you're like, I'm open to just making whatever cool deck that pops up. I'm open to just clearing this out. And if I can make a slightly better deck for my Mika, that's cool. If I can make a slightly better deck for Cassius, that's cool. If I can make a slightly better deck for Tressa, that's cool. And you know what happens? You get some epiphanies, shadow reload. This epiphany doesn't show up, that's a dead deck, right? Mika, none of these epiphanies show up, that's a dead deck. Cassius didn't get Pop-Eyed Popper upgrade, choose one, that's a dead deck, right? Maylin didn't get any of the really cool like move this, or the dragon kick that does bonus attacks every time you play a passion card, that's a dead deck, right? You can do that for so many characters. So many characters are like, I need to have this epiphany for my save data to actually matter to me. And we also have the ability as the commander, whether you're doing inside or outside of save data Chaos runs, or using your save data in something like a tower, you have the ability to like, oh, go 1 action back in time, or undo my turn for 3 points, or eventually like re-roll what of my partners are on the left-hand side for your epiphanies or your EP skills. But for some reason, I don't know why, we don't have the option to do a couple things when epiphanies show up. If you want to use your resource for the day or whatever, how much we have, and it grows, I think, as we complete the city a little bit or level up, because I think I have like 20 something actions now. Why isn't it like when an epiphany shows up, if all 3 of them are bad and I don't like them, I can choose a resource, or however you want to implement it. You can use the time walk, I'll call it the time walk resource, the time travel resource, to reroll the epiphanies. Right? Not necessarily to keep re-rolling them until a Divine Blessing version shows up, but re-roll the epiphany so whatever quality epiphanies rolled, they can roll again. And maybe there's a limit on it, right? Maybe if there's a resource being used, like the time machine resource, then maybe you can do it once, or maybe you can do it 2 or 3 times, or maybe it doesn't use a resource, and 1 to 3 times during a Chaos run, you can choose to re-roll your epiphanies when they show up. That is something I think would go a long way to giving player agency, even if it's not like 100% consistent, giving players agency over what's happening inside their chaos runs, because I understand I don't want to be able to go in there, and I get it. You guys are gonna be like, it's a roguelike, it's part of the gameplay. But like I said, there's also another part of the gameplay that uses the save data that you build in the roguelike. And if you're just on the bottom end of the bad RNG, where like you ran infinity different chaos manifestations and they never show up. Like, for instance, I mean, I've done even more so than this shows, but like I've done both weeks of this maxed out plus more, right? Plus more. I can't show you. We're all the way down, tier 11 or whatever. And it's just like, I've made like one deck that matters. One deck that got like a decent epiphany. The rest of them have all been garbage. I've gotten Shadow Reload, Shadow Dagger on heal epiphany for Tressa during the event. I've played her every single time. I've gotten it to show up one time out of like 25 runs minimum, right? Minimum. So that sort of thing needs to be addressed there as well. I do not agree with that, and I think that needs to be changed in some sort of facet. I think it's a betterment for the community overall, and it's a betterment for the gameplay experience as well, because I think they'd be like, oh, if you guys have a better chance of getting whatever it is that you want, you'll play the game less. Counterpoint, I don't think so, because one of the other things that we're about to talk about is something that they also just changed, which is having the ability to level up multiple characters. It's going to be even easier for us to level up characters now, and this is something I had to re-record here because they're just vastly reducing the requirements credit-wise for how much it takes to level up a character, which means that I'm now going to have more characters to play around with. And in those dev notes, you can go read the video or watch the video from yesterday, or read the notes yourself. They talk about how they want people to be able to level up more combatants, play out with more combatants. They even talk about in there something that they're thinking about adding where you can temporarily max level boost a combatant up to whatever your captain level is. All of that stuff where we're leveling more characters, having an easier time so we can play with them more. None of it matters if we're running through chaos and or on the bottom end of the bell curve. We've done 25 chaos runs and I've gotten the one epiphany that I need for the team that I'm trying to put together for outside of chaos to show up one time out of 25, right? And chaos runs be taken 40 minutes each, right? So there needs to be something in there, because right now I feel like I'm less likely to care about leveling up more characters, because I'm not going to go grind, 10, 40-minute chaos runs just to be disappointed in all of them because my RNG is so bad that I can't even get halfway decent epiphanies. We're not even talking about getting god tier blessings and duplicating everything and all this stuff showing up. So any sort of random option, I think there needs to be some way to re-roll that inside of the chaos. Now, the other thing we want to talk about as far as epiphanies goes real quickly too, and I don't know if this actually needs to be added, but I was talking about this with some other people the other day. It would be interesting, and it is very interesting when you're rolling a character inside of your chaos runs, that sometimes they'll get an epiphany that you just don't want in the deck, right? And I think this is an interesting topic, because I think they probably thought about it as developers and decided against it. So what are we talking about here? The ability for you to have an epiphany show up, like you're unlocking this new card, you're unlocking Whirlpool. Do you want to add Whirlpool to your deck? Yes or no? Most people are going to say, no, we don't want to add Whirlpool to our deck. So if a card unlocks, a lot of players want the ability to skip adding that card to their deck. And this is something that I'm not sure if the developers would ever add, but I do think it's interesting that it exists. And here's why. Technically, if you get giga lucky by running through a chaos manifestation, you could get a deck for any character in the game where they don't epiphany and unlock the card you don't want, right? You could technically run Mika all the way through a chaos manifestation and never unlock Whirlpool. Why is that weird? Well, the weirdness is because both of those decks at the end of the run will probably not have Whirlpool in them. If Whirlpool unlocks, you'll probably remove Whirlpool or convert Whirlpool into a different card. Whereas in Take Two, you run through the deck, you run through all of chaos. Whirlpool magically just never unlocks. You don't get enough epiphanies on Mika. She doesn't unlock Whirlpool. Craziness happens, right? We've all had those runs where some characters just don't unlock cards. It's weird. Technically, even though it'd be really, really rare, not unlocking Whirlpool saves you 20 faint memory points in save data because you don't have to remove it. Both of those decks, you're not going to have Whirlpool. And one of them, you were removing Whirlpool. The other one, it never unlocked. So you can dupe an extra card. You can get an extra Divine Blessing. You can put an extra neutral card in that slot if you run through and Whirlpool never unlocks. So the question is, do you add an ability for a player to just say, hey, Whirlpool's going to unlock. Do you want this? Yes or no? And just allow them to say no. If they're balanced around that, I'm not sure, because it's in there because, yeah, Whirlpool might be by design a card that they use to balance Mika's save data limit, right? Where it's like, everyone's going to remove this card. The tax for Mika being so good is that she's got a really bad card that no one really wants to use all that often. And so they're kind of putting that in there as a character balancing feature where you have to remove Whirlpool. And if they change it so you can just say Whirlpool is going to unlock, do you want it? You can say no forever and it never gets added to the deck. Then that's one less card for Mika to have in her deck, but also you save 20 save data points. So it's very odd that it technically exists right now, the ability for you to just RNG get lucky and not get Whirlpool added to your deck, versus what players want, which is say no and don't add it to your deck. Another nice little midway breakpoint on that as well is perhaps if a card unlocks and you don't want to add it to your deck, it can just tax you 20 save data points, right? Where you get like an instant card removal, right? Pop up. Do you want to add this to your deck? Yes. Add it in. No, it'll say, plus 20 save data points. Hit no, and it just never gets added to your deck, and you're taxed 20 faint memory points on your save data. That'd be an interesting thing as well to add into Chaos Zero Nightmare. Now, another thing I want to harp on a little bit here is going to be about the event. I'm not going to go into Chaos because I'm in the middle of a run. I don't have a lot of negative things to say about the event structure. I don't really have a lot of negative things to say about the rewards or the supply store or the weekly amount of how much you have to play, because it's really like, 3 runs maybe doing the story, Nebula Distortion. The Great Rift hasn't opened yet. But I will say this, is that my experience with this being like season 1, it's going to be new, it's going to be unique, it's going to be interesting. I'm not going to touch on this too much more, is that season 1 didn't really feel that seasonal to me, as far as my first 2 weeks or whatever, like 25, 30 chaos runs of me playing through this mode, even up to the highest difficulty levels. It didn't really feel that seasonal to me. And a lot of it has to do with probably my expectations based on what they said in the live stream, right? They're adding forbidden cards, forbidden catalyst, right? They're even going to be adding the dimensional gates that were new for this season into normal codex, which they just said with their dev update. And to me, part of the big seasonal change is the new chaos area, right? The new chaos area. You would think that like, oh man, what's the new content to experience? Well, the new cards that are forbidden cards, right, is in there. You have the new equipment as well, and the new dimensional tunnel stuff. I've gotten dimensional tunnels to open up a lot. I think a lot of players misheard me or didn't really understand what I was saying when I was like, I haven't gotten forbidden cards. A lot of people were like, oh, you haven't gotten the tunnels. Oh no, my guy, I've gotten infinity tunnels. I get like a tunnel every run. I just always get the 3 guys at the end that give you like, one of them gives you gold, one of them gives you an epiphany, and one of them gives you a piece of equipment. I have seen out of my 25 to 30 runs running on, some of I've played the highest difficulty you can for the event for chaos. I've seen a forbidden card one time. I went into a tunnel and it was like, hey, there's this like quest thing. You're gonna have this debuff until you defeat a boss and you'll get a forbidden card. I was like, that's really cool. I've seen that once, just one time, just once. And I feel like if we're going to be talking about like, oh man, here's the seasonal content, this is the real gameplay changer that's going to be new for players, there should be some sort of anti-RNG method added to the game that makes sure that players are going to see that new content at least once every like 2 or 3 runs, right? There should be some sort of pity check for like you seeing the content while it's seasonal. I think that's something big that should definitely get added in some way, right? You should not be able to go, 5, 10, 15, 20 runs during the seasonal content and see the seasonal thing once, right? Like forbidden cards, they're cool, right? It's super awesome. I'm not going to play the game 900 hours or whatever just so I can maybe get one to show up so I can use it, right? The amount of RNG right now, where with the troubles of epiphanies we talked about, where you load in, and when I'm not even talking about like getting the god tier deck, imagine the RNG where you load in, you get all the epiphanies unlocked that you want, you get the card removal, you get a card convert, you go ahead, you roll in hot, right? You're popping off. You get a divine blessing on the perfect epiphany that you want for the character you're playing. And then on top of all of that, not only is your deck already goated like it was before the season, you got your old seasonal deck, your non-seasonal deck. Now you got to roll into a dimension thing just to hope that the forbidden card shows up. And then you have to hope that the forbidden card is a good one so you can put it in your deck and be happy with it. Season 1 has been just like an anti-fun sort of thing. It feels like I'm going in and doing what I've already accomplished just so I can have a seasonal version of that save data. And the chance of me hitting what I have as save data or even getting better than the save data I already have is so abysmally low that I might as well not even play the game anymore, right? We're talking 25, 30 runs. I have the Cassius deck that I use isn't even that good. It's fine, right? And this is just an epiphany thing. Everyone's like, oh, what's your Cassius save data? Bro, it is this 60-point faint memory save data. My guy has on a plus 45 attack weapon, okay? This is 2-star stuff. This is the save data I have used for forever. And just like before, it's because Pop-Eyed Popper with the choose one is something you absolutely have to have. So when I was loading into season 1, I was like, dude, it's not going to be that difficult to get something, you know, faint memory point wise. Put some gear bags in here, maybe get like a devil dice, right? Retrieve 3. Don't need both of these. Don't need both of the shuffles, right? Don't need all of this stuff. What I just need is Pop-Eyed Popper, and then maybe I like to have like 1 retrieve 3 devil dice, and we'll build from there. Maybe I'll dupe a Joker. Maybe I'll get some better equipment. That'd be cool. Out of 30 runs, I haven't gotten anything remotely close to the strength of this 60-point faint memory deck. Want to know why? Because I literally can't get divine blessings to show up. Not divine blessings, but I cannot get epiphanies to show up on this man, let alone the forbidden seasonal content. So like I have to fight through all of the RNG of the non-season setup for Chaos, and then fight through all of the RNG just to experience the new seasonal content with my characters and their save data. So I think that needs to get changed up a little bit as well. Those are going to be the 3 big ones. I was going to talk about the stuff that we need for leveling our characters up to use inside of Chaos and Zero System on higher difficulties, because a lot of players are really being like, oh, it's getting so hard. You need to level your characters. You need to level up their potentials, maybe get some memory fragments for them as well. And I know all of that stuff is very expensive, and we were going to talk about that, but hey, they're reducing the cost of leveling characters in partners from 50 to 60 by 80% or something. It used to cost like $1 million for just the character, and then it was like 500K for the partner. Now it's gonna be like 200K for the character and like 100K for the partner. So, and it's also gonna be retroactive. If you've already leveled characters up, they're gonna mail all that stuff back to you. But I don't want to talk about stuff that we talked about yesterday too much, but that was going to be in this video. Don't feel like I left that out. I wanted to add this a little bit at the end in case you didn't know that they were already changing that stuff right there. Let me know what else you would change in Chaos Zero Nightmare to lead you into a better experience. I'm still having a little bit of fun, but I definitely have been playing it a lot less since season 1 came out. And until then, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.